friends, it's Dr. Viteri, and I'm very excited. I'm very excited. I just told Robbie before we filmed this, I said I'm not going to tell everybody I'm excited, but I'm excited about a number of things. But most importantly, I'm really excited about what I'm going to share with you guys today about the human body. And of course, listen, in our world here where we talk about health, healing, and the science of miracles, we always want to emphasize the fact that God is in the miracle business, but He's also in the science business. And what I mean by that is that very rarely does God, I don't think He ever does, break the rules of science. We just don't understand all the rules of science. You know, listen, before man could take a plane and fly it, they had no idea about Brunelli's principle of aerodynamics to cause a plane to, you know, have liftoff. And but once they figured that piece of science out, it would seem to be miraculous that man could take to the air. But nonetheless, in this world of science, we want to understand how this body is made. And I'm going to use a couple of scriptures, and I'm going to make a couple of points. I'm not going to lie, I'm going to make a couple of points while I'm bringing this to you. And the first one is, and it's very popular, two very popular scriptures I'm going to use. The first one we're going to talk about is Psalm 139:14, okay? And it says, I will give thanks to you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. And you know what? The psalmist is talking about how this body is made. Now, let me tell you, back then when he was speaking about the body wonderfully made, he didn't understand the complexity and the intricate nature of the physiological functions that are going on in the body. And they didn't know it. The science to understand the human body wasn't there yet. It was there, but they didn't understand the science to it. But the psalmist knew that it was fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works, and my soul knows it very well. So what happens is, we know you don't have to be an anatomy instructor in a major college. You don't need to be a biophysical engineer to understand the intricacies of your body as far as to explain it, but you know it works. Everybody knows past a certain age of understanding that your heart is beating, that your kidneys are filtering out your circulatory system, that your liver is storing nutrients and regulating cholesterol levels, and your stomach is digesting food, and your lungs are exchanging oxygen and carbon dioxide. We all know that. We all know that this body of ours is so complex. And even the medical world, the fact that they can come up with medical breakthroughs every so often proves to the fact that they're learning more and more about the science of how this body works. So we have to understand that this body of ours is wonderfully made. It's amazingly made. And I believe, and especially for this time, such a time as right now, with the pandemic that is, you know, still propagating itself around the world, and even worse in America here, how it's been politicized, and the number of cases and the number of people that are dying, and there's a lot of controversy, put it like that. I'm not going to get into that aspect of it, but I'm going to get into the aspect of that this virus is showing us the necessity of understanding our immune system, okay? And it's become a tremendous pet peeve with me. As a matter of fact, I'm almost losing my mind when I hear the continuous conversations from the so-called medical experts, when the only thing they can possibly offer to confront this virus, okay, is to wash your hands for 20 or 30 seconds so many times a day that you're going to wear your fingerprints off your hands. The concept of social distancing, which I'm telling you, when they stop using that word, I will permanently eradicate it from my vocabulary, because I hate the word, because it doesn't even make sense. Granted, yes, if you stay away from people, and if you're staying away from everybody, you're not going to catch anything because you're not coming in contact with anybody. If you're locking yourself in your house, in your attic, in your basement, or wherever you want to lock yourself away, you're not going to catch anything, but you're not going to be living the human experience either. You're being locked away. You might as well be in solitary confinement somewhere. The concept of the 6-foot social distancing doesn't even make sense. It only makes sense if everybody just stays 6 feet away and doesn't move. So if and think about this, if I go to Robbie and I say, Robbie, come with me to the back office there. And he says, Dr. B, I'm going to stay 6 feet away from you. I said, fine. Now say I had the corona and I coughed. And what is he going to do? He has to wait like an hour before the so-called virus settles somewhere? The size of the virus, think about this. I'm going to show you an example in a moment. A particle of just powder, just baby powder, is 600 times larger than the largest piece of the coronavirus that can become infectious in your body. 600 times larger. Now everybody's seen, you get some powder on your hands, and you clap your hands, you see the powder just floating around, circulating around, okay? We all seen when the sun comes through the window how the dust particles are floating in the air. The coronavirus is thousands of times smaller and lighter than a dust particle that's floating around in the air. So if I'm walking down the corridor here and he's 6 feet behind me, are you kidding me? It's like you'd have to be 6 miles behind me by the time that coronavirus actually settles off somewhere. So, not that I'm trying to destroy the principles. I do agree with the fact that you should have some distance between people so they're not coughing and sneezing and all kinds of stuff coming out of their body landing on you, just for pure hygiene's sake, okay? And the last thing is the wearing of the mask. Now, I'm not discouraging mask wearing. If you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. I encourage all my patients, you come in my office, you need to wear a mask, okay? It's the rule, it's the law. And believe it or not, Dr. V is a law-abiding citizen. But we have to understand something about the mask, and I have a demonstration here, okay? So this is just a regular cloth mask. People wear this mask. People wear bandanas. They wear the blue surgical mask, okay? The more effective mask, just speaking of things, would be the N95 type mask. But even that, and I'm going to explain to you the concept in the actual openings or the pore of the mask. So I put some powder inside this. Can we see this on film, Ron? Oh, it's coming out the side. Okay, let me make sure the powder is embedded in the mask. So I'm folding it over. So there's no powder coming out of the side of the mask. So the powder is stuck in the mask, right? So this is a typical cloth mask. People wear those cloth masks. They got a designer one. My wife's walking around one. Oh, I got to design a mask. Somebody on our staff gave her a mask. So she's really cool. And then we have all these other masks. People have the bandanas. They have the ones that go up like this, it's half a scarf and around your head, like you're gonna rob a bank. But watch what happens. I got powder in here, and let's see if we can see this. You ready? See the powder coming out? See it on my hands? Okay. The powder's coming out of this mask as if it's not there. Okay? Bam! The powder's coming. You see that on the film? Okay. It's all over my hands now. Now I got powdery fingers. But my point is, the powder particle is 600 times larger than the largest piece of the coronavirus. So the mask isn't really stopping anything. As a matter of fact, we had, I just saw on one of the news feeds, Dr. Atlas, one of the, people from the White House on the Corona Task Force, and they just brought up a statistic saying that the latest so-called surge had 85% of the people who recently came down with corona said they were wearing a mask. So, again, I'm not saying don't wear a mask. What I'm saying is don't think for a moment that by wearing the mask is going to be the end all to stopping the virus, okay? So, isn't that wonderful? This is a recorded program, and we're also recording the landscaper. Could we hear it? A little bit?
Yeah.
Sorry, and I'm watching them now. Hey, get those leaves. You missed some leaves, pal. Get over there. All right. Anyway, so what we're hearing from the so-called experts, we're talking about people that are head of organizations, okay, that the only thing they can say is wash your hands. I got to wash my hands. I got powder over it. But they say wash your hands, wear the mask, socially distance, and they stop right there. Don't they know that the body is fearfully and wonderfully made? Don't they understand that God has put in the body an immune system that is designed to fight off viruses, bacteria, and other foreign particles that go into the body? So, yes, this virus is somewhat deadly, but it doesn't kill everybody. It's a bully. It picks on people that are older, like me and older, who have multiple comorbidities. If you look at all the statistics, they're saying like 70-80% of the population who died from this virus are 80 years old and older with multiple comorbidities. Either they were obese, they had heart disease, diabetes. There was some other health problem that compromised their immune system, their ability to fight off the virus. And naturally, unfortunately, as we age, our immune system is not as responsive as it is when we're younger, because all the statistics, it's not just, some statistic that somebody made up on one study. All the statistics are saying that the survival rate of somebody who's below the age of 19, if they contract the virus, is 99.997%. So you have a 0.003% chance of dying if you're under 19 contracting the virus, and that person probably had a comorbidity, okay? Most of these people are showing little to no symptomatology. There's so many people. There was a random antibody study done several months ago, I believe in March, April, May, and they did random antibody studies, and they showed that 25% of the people randomly taken, and local, they were in the Bronx, Queens, Brooklyn, 25% of the people already had antibodies, and almost half of them were shocked because they never had any symptoms of the virus. They say there's over 1 million people, 1 point something million people who have the virus, who tested positive, okay? But there's so many people who never got tested because they never had a symptom, who had the virus because they developed antibodies, because their body developed antibodies because the virus came into their system, but the response of their system was so proficient, okay, and efficient that they never got sick, so they never got tested. And that's the nature of a virus. You see, the coronavirus is deadly because it's a bully, and it picks on the elderly who have comorbidities, and they're more susceptible to get sick, okay? But in terms of the fact it's a virus, it's a virus. The coronavirus shape was found in like 20 to 30% of the common colds. Very rarely does somebody die of the common cold. And we have people just with the flu, and the flu, which can mutate every 6 to 8 weeks. You have so many different varieties of the flu. Every year when they give a flu shot, which is, my opinion, gigantic waste, because by the admittance of the CDC, at best, last year was the best they ever had, and it was 40% effective. Most of the time, it's like 30% effective. Several years ago, it was only 20% effective, and I don't even know how they do their numbers, because if you take 100,000 people who take the flu shot, and you tell me only 40% of them are protected from the flu at the end of the day, why bother? Because if you took another 100,000 people who never took the flu shot, okay, and see how many of them got the flu, well, they'll never do that study. Why would they do that study? Because, I don't know, listen, have you ever taken the flu shot? You taken the flu shot?
When I was younger. I haven't taken one in a while.
I've never taken a flu shot. I got the flu once, I believe, in 1985. I'm not going to start putting stuff in my body that really doesn't belong there. But nonetheless, our immune system is so wonderfully made. When a foreign entity comes into your immune system, okay, be it a virus, a bacteria, or some type of particle that doesn't belong in your body, you have your first line of defense, okay? This is your surveillance system or your innate system. Something goes into your system, your body will recognize it's not there. There's certain cells like macrophages and neutrophils. They will actually detect that this doesn't belong because the outside layer of this foreign body is not belonging in your system. Your body will surround it, attack it, and destroy it. For the most part, most bacteria, regardless of what it is, coronavirus or not, okay, will be detected by this part of your immune system and destroyed before it even gets into your system. And I'm going to give you proof of that in a moment. Now, if for some reason the virus gets past the first system and gets into your body where it starts multiplying into cells, then your body's acquired system kicks in. Now your body is going to be in the process of developing antibodies. Now, listen, we don't have that much time. I'm going to talk fast because I talk fast, but try to follow along with this. The foreign body goes into your system. This virus goes in. The outside layer of the virus is made of lipids. It's like a fat. But it also has protein molecules along the outside of the virus that will be specific for that virus. That's how they make the vaccines. They take the outside layer and they put it into your system, hoping that your body will detect and make antibodies from it. Clearly, it doesn't always work. But if it's naturally acquired, your B lymphocytes, there will be a B lymphocyte in your body. If it was made on the planet Earth, listen to this, if it was made on the planet Earth, if something came from the planet Earth, your body will have a B lymphocyte that will be able to tag the virus. So if this hand is the virus, a B lymphocyte that will have what's called a surface antibody will connect with this virus at some point in time. And once it connects with the virus, okay, that B lymphocyte will be inactivated by another cell. I'm not going to get too complicated, but the B lymphocyte will be be activated, and it'll begin to kind of multiply. It will start multiplying and creating more B lymphocytes that look exactly like the one that tagged onto the virus. Now, it doesn't kill the virus. It's going to do two things. It's going to make more B lymphocytes that have the same exact antibody, surface antibody, so it can link to more of these viruses. But it's also going to produce not only these extra B lymphocytes, which are called memory B lymphocytes, but it's also going to produce plasma cells, which produce what? The antibodies. And I'm talking about gazillions of them. And the plasma cells that are replicated out of the B lymphocyte will produce antibodies that look exactly like the antibody that's stuck to the virus, because it's like a lock and key. It knows the virus, it clicks to it, and it doesn't let go. The antibodies circulate all over the body, and every time it comes in contact with a coronavirus, not this virus or that virus, but the coronavirus, the antibodies just stick to the outside layer of the coronavirus and won't let it in the cell. That's how it destroys it. It just doesn't let it in, because then now macrophages and other white blood cells come and devour over this coronavirus that's been surrounded by antibodies. Now, what happens though, if that response isn't happening fast enough, because the virus already got into a cell, so you're still developing antibodies, you're still isolating off coronavirus particles, okay, but now the RNA of the coronavirus gets into a cell, and in this case, it gets into the tissue cell of the alveolar of the lung. That's where they have the exchange of the oxygen and the carbon dioxide in the lung. That's where it kind of settles itself, okay? And it starts replicating the virus, replicating the virus, replicating the virus, and it starts shutting off the body's ability to stop it. Now, T lymphocytes, okay, the other end of your defense mechanism, sees that and detects, because the cell, once the cell is infected with the virus, it can't help it. The virus starts like a printing press, goes to the nucleus of the cell, prints out the virus, prints out the virus, prints out the virus, released into the system, prints out the virus. But the cell has a brain to it. It has like almost like an antenna. This is not the exact scientific term, but it has something that the cell lets the T lymphocyte say, hey, we're in trouble. The T lymphocyte recognizes the cell's in trouble because it's producing the virus, comes along, remember, fearfully and wonderfully made, comes along and starts destroying the cell and the virus. So it's killing the cell and the virus. But here now comes the problem. Especially with the people who are immune compromised, or when people are, have other health problems, because the T lymphocytes also produce small protein molecules called cytokines, and they're designed for a specific reason. They just don't do, well, they're in the lungs. We don't want it to do this so much. The cytokines cause the lung tissue in that area to become very permeable, causing fluid, interstitial fluid from your body, to pour into the lungs. Why? Because in that interstitial fluid are other white blood cells to assist in the destroying of the coronavirus. But the flood of this interstitial fluid starts blocking up the lungs. And that's why people have shortness of breath. They can't breathe. You have a fever, but the fever isn't what's killing you here. It's you're suffocating yourself with the fluid. Now, for the most part, if the person's healthy enough, young enough, your body will regulate and be able to, destroy the virus. It will regulate the permeability of the lungs, etc., and the person will have a recovery. The problem is with older people, and especially when they started putting the people on the ventilators, they forced the air into the lungs, pushed this fluid that was filled with cytokines into the circulatory system, which now circulated into the body, causing wherever the blood vessels go to become permeable, and now we had fluid pouring into what? Vital organs, into the liver, into the spleen, into the kidneys, into other parts of the body, and people started dying of not the virus. They started dying of heart failure because the volume of blood was not there anymore, and organ failure because they were filled with fluid. You almost drowned yourself internally because of the matter. And that's why you don't hear anything about ventilators anymore. Why? because now the treatment of choice in that advanced stage would be steroids just to remove the inflammation and not necessarily flood the body with the interstitial fluid that was filled with the cytokines that was making it permeable. Now, our body, when it's not compromised or it's not abused, because let me tell you something, there are people that have recovered in their late 70s, in their 80s. There are people, I know, I have patients where the husband tested positive for coronavirus, had no symptoms. His wife, who sleeps in the same bed, didn't even test positive. Why? Because of course she was exposed to the virus, but remember the beginning, the surveillance, the innate immune system, well, that destroyed the virus before it even got into her. She never developed antibodies, never had any symptoms, never tested positive, because she never really got the virus. It was destroyed before it can test positive. And that's why you have so many people, and I hear so many reports, the mother had the virus, the daughter didn't have the virus, the son had the virus, the grandfather got sick and died. How is this happening? How is this occurring? Why is this occurring? You follow what I'm saying? Because physiologically people are different. The virus is the given. The human body is the variable. And this is the point I want to bring it home with this, is that if your body is fearfully and wonderfully made and we abuse it, we are lowering our ability to fight the virus. Now, you can't improve your immune system unless you remove the things that are causing your immune system to be compromised. That means if you're eating high sugar diets, if you're eating foods, drinking beer, and you're all stressed out, and you're creating a negative toxic environment in your system by having a high inflammation rate, by having so much simple sugars in your diet, animal proteins, of course your immune system is going to be compromised. Of course, no matter what age you are, your immune system is going to have a tougher time fighting off the virus than anybody else, okay? The second thing is to take supplementation. And, sometimes people they're vitamin nuts or taking minerals and all kinds of herbs, and people think that they're crazy, they're nuts. The truth of the matter, you might as well call me that, because I got a bag of supplements that I take. I take certain vitamins. I've been taking it before the virus. I've been taking it way before this virus. For any virus, I'm going to take it forever, because this is my routine. There are specific things you've got to be putting into your system. And what boggles my mind is that there's volumes of research that prove that certain supplements will improve your chances to improve the function of your immune system, which of course improves your outcome. Vitamin D is critically important, especially for those who live up in the Northeast. We don't go outside, we don't get enough sunshine. You're not getting enough vitamin D. And everybody, if you had a recent blood test, I can guarantee 9 out of 10 people, they told you that you're vitamin D deficient. And you don't need 1,000. You may need 5,000, 6,000, 8,000 international units. You may need a ton of vitamin D. We'll get to vitamin C in a second. Because the vitamin D actually suppresses the T lymphocytes from producing the cytokines, or the effect of the cytokines on creating the permeability of fluid into the lungs. Did you just get what I just told you there? The vitamin D prevents that overreactive inflammatory process in the lungs. That's what's causing people to get really sick from this. Now, the vitamin D is not a cure, but what it does is it helps supports the body's ability not to destroy itself. The second thing is zinc. Now, if you remember months ago when the president got up there and said about the hydroxychloroquine and the zinc, so of course all the pundits, he's crazy, we'll know the story. But here's the truth behind the matter. The zinc has been proven for years, okay, years, to slow down the replication of viruses. It slows down the replication. It's what it does. It slows the replication down. So you should take at least 50 milligrams of zinc a day. Why? Because it improves your overall, zinc, not more is better. 50 milligrams a day, more than enough, okay? Vitamin C to improve your overall immune system function. Vitamin A to improve the lining of the mucosa of your lungs. It's vitally important for the health of the mucosa of your lungs. Those are the staples. Now, I may take a little bit more than that. I may be a little on the overboard end. I'm taking licorice and ashwagandha, etc., because it all improves the overall health. But the truth of the matter, you take those 4 supplements, you're going to improve your overall wellness, because again, your body has been fearfully and wonderfully made. It's designed to be well. The virus is a virus. It's a given. It's a given substance. It's a bully. And what happens is we could do whatever we could do to improve our immune system. That's what we need to do. We have to work with the fact that in this case, this is a miracle that God already put in your body. It's already there. You see, what happens is we don't even know about it. People are clamoring all over the place, got 2 or 3 masks on, can't wait for the vaccine. I'm telling you, work with your body. Don't be negligent. Don't be misinformed. Don't be thinking that I'm becoming coming across countercultural and say that we shouldn't follow any of the CDC guidelines. I'm not saying that. I'm saying take the bull by the horns, man. Don't be just sitting there eating like potato chips and ice cream and sipping, regular soda, becoming like a big lump on a log, and think that you're going to be healthy. It's not going to work like that. If you abuse the mercy that God's in the book, it's in the book. If you abuse the mercy that God has given upon you, eventually His mercy lasts forever, but it may not last forever for you. So we need to really start taking care of ourselves and take heed to these things, okay? This virus is going to run its course. That's what's going to happen. Every major virus that affects mankind runs its course, okay? That's the bottom line. The best thing we could do is improve our ability to fight it back. And on that note, I want to bring your attention to what we're going to be doing in November on the weekend before Thanksgiving. We figured it out, me and Robbie figured it out, we learned how to use the calendar, okay? It's on the Saturday, November 21st. It's going to start in the morning. We're going to do a 3-hour wellness conference. We're going to discuss all kinds of things to improve our overall health, lose weight, get yourself in shape, and enhance your God-given immunity. Man, listen, we have this God-given immunity. God knew about this. Listen, one more scripture and I'm going to finish about the conference. I got to say this here. It says in Jeremiah 1:5, it says, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you." God knew you. Okay? And for those of you who don't think you were there beforehand, you were there. He knew you. He formed you in the womb. Before you were even born, He consecrated you. He set you aside. You're designed either to be a prophet or a priest. You are designed by God to do and be something great. Don't waste this one-shot opportunity. And when it comes to your health, again, you need to be in control of it. Stop relying on other people and some miracle things that are going to come out in the future. Work on it now. Now is the time. And that's why I'm going to urge you. You're going to go to the website, schoolofwellness.com. Very simple. Schoolofwellness.com, straight across. And when you open it up, you'll see a link to sign up for the workshop. Now, the workshop, we're giving a whole lot away over here. I think we're giving away the house, Robbie. But this is what we're doing. The workshop sign up is $40. It's going to be an online. We're going to be what?
YouTube.
YouTube it.
It's going to stream it over YouTube.
YouTube and not Zoom. Or
no, YouTube.
YouTube. Okay, he's in charge. We're going to YouTube the conference. Okay, and the cost of the conference is $40. Okay, that's to be when you're invited. We'll get you the link to the YouTube, and you'll be invited to the conference. But we're also going to give you a copy of my book. Where'd my book go? Somewhere. Oh, it went to the front. Back on the screen. Copy of the book, The Genesis Diet, which is a lot more than a diet. Let me tell you something. When they contracted me and they paid me money to write the book, I had to go with their name, The Diet. But the first couple of chapters are talking about positioning yourself to get well. Because there's a position here that has to occur first. People who get well from being sick or out of shape, they don't get well because they picked up a diet book and they read it and did well. No, they set themselves straight in the head first in order to accomplish it and be successful. And that's the beginning of the book. It really gets you straight. So for $40, you're going to get the conference, you're going to get a copy of the book, okay? I'll even autograph it. Miles Monroe, one of my mentors, great, one of the most brilliant minds. His life was, to most people, cut short during when he died in a plane crash. But according to Miles, it wasn't cut short because he always spoke about when God has set you with a purpose and your purpose is done, He will take you home. That's what Miles taught me. Okay? So I'm hoping my purpose isn't done just yet because I need a whole lot more to share to my friends out there. So you're going to get a copy of the book, and we're also going to give you a wellness consultation. So this is like a whole lot of things, a whole lot of stuff. The consultation alone is going to be either by me or my wellness coach. And we're gonna help you get well. And that's going to be on the Saturday, November 21st. It's going to be for 3 hours starting at 9 o'clock. The registration will be open somewhere off this link here, and or go to schoolofwellness.com and you'll be able to do it. Again, listen, your body's wonderfully made. And he knew about you in the womb, actually knew about you before. God had ordained you, set you aside with this wonderful body, that if we take care of it correctly, we have the ability to have great longevity, great health. We need to stop abusing this body and stop abusing his mercy. Amen? All right, this is Dr. Viteri. I hope you enjoyed this segment. I'm not sure how long we went. Whatever it was, I thought it was well worth it. The information to help you achieve the wellness that God has ordained you. Amen? God bless.